Welcome to day 2 of the Dota 2 Asia Championships 2017, and welcome to the main event arena once more. We're about 20 minutes out from our first draft of the day. More lower bracket action today as we eliminate 3 more teams. But yesterday, it was all about the opening day here. Fantastic opening ceremony, the upper bracket semi-finals, and 4 teams headed home from the lower bracket. Before we get into today's matches and tell you exactly what we've got to look forward to, and it is a fantastic day, let's recap you on exactly what happened on day 1.
Heavily. Notel has leveled up Song of the Siren, and he just lets it go. TP's coming in, and Nickma has Black Hole. He can set up for 3 of them right now. SK will be in the neighborhood. That's why S4's getting as much distance as he can to the right, and he holds them in with the Black Hole. The 4 of them all caught in with the Storm and the Spirit Animal come in, and it is an absolute disaster for Newbie. They're pushed out of the top lane. Available Kaka, Trouble concocted on him, S4 blinks forward, he's looking for the Black Hole, if he can get it, 3 of them just on the tip, throw out the damage and take the kills as he's got no life to work with. He's having to strength bomb himself out, another Black Hole, you can steal it and return it, that's what the Rubik's capable of doing, but the stuns will arrive and so will Anna, bringing in the damage that the OD dishes out. They potentially can push for more, but they don't want to push it too far unless they can do that! The explosion! OD was holding all of it, Uno will fall, that's really the game. You've lost everyone, there's no buyback surely left available. It's all on the backs of the Morphling SC, but it will slip off his back and GG is called. OG will take the series 2-0 on the back of the Ana Ultra kill.
It's kind of a standard one, but with the Halberd versus his massive physical. They do get a nice pick up on Baboka. The duel coming out, though.
Oh, with Burning, both of them should be able to get it done, but there is some decent damage to go on XSS, and they will be able to finally get him down. 2 get dropped from IG, a 2-for-1 trade, but then suddenly OP shows up to play, and they just wipe the floor with him. A double kill for the Tinker here. No buyback available for FN.
He's not done. He's got an Arcane Rune.
Oh.
He does not want to get out of there. Arcane Rune on Tinker. And coming out, they do miss on the crush for FN, but here we go, Burning's in.
He thinks he's manning up against a Slardar, but then Burning pops out, and suddenly FN just goes full man mode and just wipes out his extra life. But then OP steps in to make it a more fair fight, and he quickly gets a hold of FN and just takes him right out of the picture. A double kill for OP. They find a swap target.
Nice blinding light.
For Baboka. They separate with blinding light, and that's when they initiate. Looking to go for FN, and they get it with the burning bomb. Troll goes down. Follow-up's going to be there for Chappie, and they have no Troll or Chappie buyback. This looks to be it, and it is over. Empire to the lower bracket. IG managed to get it in game number 3. 30
Bloodstone charges. OP just going out of control in this game.
Damn.
set up. Monkey King spotting people out. There's the RP used onto one. They end up getting the counter initiation, though. It's a huge one coming out. The Golem, as well as Say's Eclipse. LPC and Ginseng in a ton of trouble. Super is going to drop down low as well. Does look to die inside of that. There's the Batrider initiation, comes out. They get the silence off. Oh, great play. Now they're going to be able to turn this back around. Say's Eclipse as well. No Chronosphere used again. IG.V are looking quite strong as they're going to be able to chase down LPC here. There's still the chance for a counterplay by Ginseng, but they're just going to call off the charge.
Oh, the bad manner ODL dropping the hammer.
IG Vitality are going to take it down.
But he buys back, there's no duel, and there's no silence.
Oh, immediate silence from Freeze. What a play. It's going to be a grave, though, to keep him alive for the moment, lifting it up on the Troll as well. He is inside the Monkey King's ultimate. It's going to be dropped out there already, but Abaddon's still in this fight. Hadbot back there, they're doing so much damage. Howie is going to drop, and now looking to take this a little bit further. Freeze, he smells blood, going to take down that Dazzle. Now going to pull in Eternal Envy. Oh, NP, it looked good for so long, but now they're going to lose the Legion as well. Killing spree for Freeze. Trying to turn a grave used on himself as well as the press the attack. A good stun comes in from SVG, but they've taken down Owie. Now going to take more. NP are dropping like flies, and VGJ might just have done it. And GG is called.
It's too bad. I mean, props to VGJ.
Easy. They're trying to take it down with the physical damage, but the racks, chunk, they're gone. Again, a second set of many racks, and Fabian takes down Arteezy. Oh my goodness. If this doesn't tilt you, I don't know what would, gods. EG have got to keep their composure against this. They will find eyesights. They found two. Samael gets the double. They get Innocence as well in the tree line. Triple kill for Samael. BKB pop, but the stuns are there. Zai bashing him up here with the Wukong's blink. Falling low, Universe forces them back to the base. EG, they turn their attentions back towards the Ancient. Can they still hold here? Wings Brian in again with the blink cloud. Arteezy takes a sunstrike straight to the head. He's falling low. He's being forced back in by the stolen Wukong's command. Why is holding? But Samael, he maintains control as he faces towards the Ancient, and EG will finish the game. They've beaten it. Wings tried the meme strats again, but it wasn't effective. But Matuma Man did grab the Aegis.
Oh, Static Storm.
The setup is going to be beautiful here as he gets it onto 3. Black trapped in the midst of it all. Sentry is down. Can they actually kill him? No. He got the Shadow Dance off in time. Black survives. Turns towards Matumba. Takes the Aegis out of his hands. And again, nuts with these freezing fields. Silenced up. Jabs back in. Black as well. The Naga's out. Liquid are going home here from this best of 1, and Faceless have done it. They've beaten the GH Naga gods.
Absolutely brutal stuff. Best of 1 Dota. Faceless pull out a hell of a game.
As good a summary as you'll get, yes. A hell of a game from Faceless to finish things off on day 1. We'll see them a little bit later on in action. They're head-to-head with EG today as we continue on through the lower bracket. As I said earlier, we lost 4 yesterday. We'll lose 3 more today and then have the top 5 guaranteed teams for the last 2 days It is going to be another great day of Dota 2 action. Let's recap where we are in the bracket right now and show you exactly how it all panned out on day one in the upper half of the bracket. It was good news if you were an OG fan. They sailed through against Newbie to the upper bracket final, and they were joined by Invictus Gaming with a 2-1 win over a determined Team Empire. At the bottom half of the bracket, IG Vitality, Team VGJ, Evil Geniuses and Faceless all came through the nerve-wracking best of ones. Today's schedule has 3 matches for you from the main event itself. All lower bracket matches, IG Vitality versus VGJ to kick things off. EG then take on Faceless, and then Team Empire take on To Be Decided at the moment. Those guys seem to get through to every tournament late. We'll also move on to the best of ones. Miracle versus Paparazzi, SCC versus Burning, and then of course the grand final of the 1v1 scheduled for about 9 o'clock this evening. But we'll see whether that is true, because of course it makes a big difference as to what the first 3 best of 3s do in terms of results. As I said, we are going to get into our opening game of the day. First of all, let's introduce you to our men at the panel this morning. We start off with Purge, PPD and Gods. Good morning, everyone. How is everyone?
Pretty good.
All ready for day 2?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to?
All of the games. I'm really excited to see how things turn out. I mean, the last game, I wasn't able to catch it because it was the end of the day, but a crazy upset there.
Yep.
And now even more great games to go.
Yeah. Very determined, disciplined display from Faceless yesterday. Are you boys worried at all today?
I don't know. I think that they're honestly probably a little happy with the results. I think everyone kind of viewed Faceless as the weaker team, but they managed to pull off the big upset in the best of 1.
Yeah.
So good for them. They're advancing to top 12, but I don't know. I think EG might be able to beat them today.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see that one. Gods, OG were flawless in many ways yesterday again. There wasn't much you could pick on with what they did badly against Newbie. Can anyone beat them?
Oh, definitely. They can be beaten, but they're a team that just always sails into tournaments and seems to go into the radar despite the fact they're kind of consistently one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world. So they're very hard to figure out because they'll just go into a tournament, have totally new strats, new drafts. Like no one really saw some of their Visage random picks coming out. They've been doing different stuff every game, so they're looking really good.
Tricky stuff. What about the bottom of the bracket? Who stood out for you? Always difficult with best of 1s, isn't it, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, the EG, some of the games stood out. I don't know if a single team with their performance stood out. VGJ turned around after a bad group stage. I think Faceless really impressed. Everyone stood out as far as individual players go, but they still barely got the win off Liquid. So looking at the lower bracket, I think some of the teams, Newbie's dropped down now. I'd give Newbie a good shot at going pretty far there. Yeah. Empire, will see just how well they can continue to play as well.
Yeah, we'll see Empire a little bit later on. Kevin, of all the teams that are left in, who's the favourites now? It's obviously OG.
Oh, yeah, easily OG IG. Makes the easy answer because they're in winner bracket, but they definitely did look like the best 2 teams. I think the EG series was also pretty impressive. It was kind of a cheesy game and made it look like they were going to lose, but I think they definitely look like one of the best teams as well. I'm also just excited to see just how far Empire can go, how far maybe VGJ or some of the other really lower bracket teams can make it before they get knocked out or possibly get to the winner bracket, or the finals, that is. So, there's a lot to see.
Yeah, plenty to see as well. Let's move into our first game of the day, IG.V versus VGJ. We'll start with IG Vitality. Didn't have the best of group stages, Peter. They were bottom of their group, and you sort of wondered, were they going to step up when it got to the knockout stages? But they seemed to do okay yesterday.
Yeah, they did just fine. They were one of the teams in the group stages that we kind of thought maybe would do. I guess we had better expectations for than what they showed, but definitely some really strong players. I think Cicada has been a standout performer for them throughout this entire series. Superb has been playing a really solid 5 position as well. In July on the Batrider yesterday was very, very good.
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah.
July is one of those players where he's very hit or miss. He'll have amazing performances, but then if he gets a hero he's not as comfortable on, he can sometimes struggle, I feel. But get him in a bat, get him in a comfort zone, and he can definitely do a lot in a game.
Yeah, I'm surprised you say that. I feel like he consistently has a super high farm rate for an offlane no matter what he plays, and I feel like his impacts are pretty good. Where do you feel he falls flat?
I think it's his more hero pool wise. He's got a maybe smaller hero pool. He's got the heroes like Batrider he excels at, but you put him on outside of his comfort zone, I think he just struggles more.
Okay.
Interesting. Let's talk about VGJ yesterday. The Jeremy Lin-inspired team had a good game, but it wasn't all their own way yesterday, Gods, was it? It didn't feel like they were dominant or they were really powerful in the game. It kind of had to wait for some breaks to happen for them.
It was, yeah, it felt like a very well-led victory by ROTK. They definitely had a kind of slow start. They weren't ahead in the early game, mid-game as well. They had to make a really good Roche fight where ROTK bought back. That was kind of the big turning point. MP had made some really good adjustments to try and deal with the Abaddon, having the Silver Edge, the silencers, but we managed to see ROTK kind of pull through, and I think his captainship really kind of was a big part of that.
Yeah. I think they did actually. I was very impressed by their game against NP. That game was really, really tough. They were up against Silencer, which is a hero that we've seen kind of dominate team fights, and VGJ didn't really pick a lot of team fight for themselves, so they had to kind of like expertly maneuver throughout the game, and I thought they executed that very well. They kind of delayed the game and split push until they had the proper items and levels on their heroes to fight, and then they kept buybacks exactly like we saw that Roche fight where ROTK went down, bought back immediately, and all of a sudden the fight's in their favor.
Yeah, it was very interesting, wasn't it? How much do you put on leadership in those moments?
It's super important. Like if they would have tried to like defend their tier 2 towers, for example, they would have lost those fights handedly, and then MP could have gone for Roshan, or they could have pushed into tier 3s, and by like kind of dodging the fights and still putting a little bit of pressure on MP, letting them know that hey, we're around. You can't take everything. I don't know. It led to them like winning a game, which I thought was really difficult to win.
Yeah, plenty of experience counts for something, doesn't it, in those matches?
I love seeing IG, for example, like Burning being back, and I love seeing VGJ like back in the scene and at these big tournaments. FY and Fenrir and ROTK are just like legendary players that I've played against so many times and I have so much respect for. So I really like to see them do well, and I'm excited to see how they do today. Yeah.
In terms of matchup, Kevin, where do you think the power lay between these two teams? They know each other well, of course.
I'm not really sure. I feel like VGJ obviously has far more experience, and maybe that is. I feel like their win was more convincing yesterday. I felt like they definitely had the harder game. It seemed like they got outdrafted as well, so they were put in this like awful position, and they completely stabilized. They made few mistakes, and they pushed for a win. I feel like that's what's going to give them a lot more of an upper hand, at least in my confidence.
I think IG.V also outdrafted their opponents yesterday by a lot. And their game was really easy, which, it wasn't as challenging, so maybe they didn't really prove themselves that much, but they made the game look so easy for them, and maybe they'll do something similar today.
I think IG.V is a team that's kind of maybe prone to nerves. They talked about it even in their interview afterwards, where it's like they just want to win a game on LAN, because they've never actually won a match at an international LAN before. They've been to Starladder, they went to the recent major, and they've always kind of struggled to meet the expectations because they've done so well in the Chinese regional scene, and they've been winning tons of qualifiers, but they go to a LAN and then they fall short. It's kind of like what we've seen from Faceless until maybe recently with some of their best of one upsets. So I think IG.V still have a lot to prove.
Yeah, qualifying kings, I think we would definitely call them, but plenty to prove on LAN. In terms of the roles, and then what are we looking at here in terms of the major matchups? Is it mid? Is it the fours? What are you interested most by in this game?
I'd look maybe more towards the offlaners, I think. ROTK and Injuly, I think kind of the two big kind of tempo setters for the teams. I mean, ROTK as the captain and the emotional lead for the team, but Injuly always playing that kind of key initiator role. And I feel like his performance can be absolutely crucial for IG.V.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I was thinking towards supports, but I definitely agree on these two offlaners. Always in the heat of the battle, often in the ganks, and I think it's the crucial part of their games.
ROTK stepped up his play a ton. He got a lot of flack from the Chinese community. Everyone was just saying, should he still be on Tier 1 teams anymore and stuff. His play for a lot of the 2016 season, definitely saw a dip in performance, but recently he's been absolutely beast moding. He's had some incredible individual performances. His Abaddon yesterday, his performance at Starlighter, he was one of the top performers on his team, so I think he's kind of silenced a lot of the doubters.
It seems like people enjoy playing with him, which is a pretty underrated aspect of being a player and a captain. So obviously people kind of gave him a little bit of crap for some of the plays that he's made in the past, some ROTK ravages and other things, but he's a proven winner. We saw him at so many grand finals, and he's won so many tournaments, so it's we'll see what he's able to do today. I'm not sure who's my favorite, but I think VGJ would be nice to see them advance.
Just from the legendary
I'm like a fanboy, so it's fine.
Peter's confirmed VGJ fanboy. I love it. It's brilliant. Purge, in terms of, obviously we're moving towards the draft very shortly. There were some interesting picks between both of these two teams, the Abaddon being one of them. It was 0-10 before ROTK won that match with him. You just wonder, are they okay with these kind of speculative picks that come out?
Well, it looks like it won twice yesterday. So
yeah, it did in the
I
end.
think if we just ignore the group stage, it's looking pretty good as a pick.
We had a whole segment where we shit on the hero, and then it goes to win 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about its weaknesses. We're totally shitting on it.
But they seem quite comfortable in picking what they think they need rather than statistically what might be working in the meta.
I think that's a good move to do. You know, as time goes on, everybody understands Dota a little better, and I think one of the really key pieces about drafting is knowing all the heroes and knowing right where they fit. That way, in those rare games where you need to pick something that's because all the other suitable solutions have been banned out, that's really important. I think Wings did that amazing at TI that they won, and I think a lot of teams could definitely replicate that.
Okay. Gods, what are you expecting the major battleground to be here in terms of heroes? Because there are a few that cross over in these two teams.
Yeah, I think the 4 position role we always talk about, but I think that's because there's a clear 2 best 4 position heroes right now with Monkey King and Earth Spirit. And FY, we saw yesterday play the Monkey King. He's had I had 1 or 2 bad games in the group stage, but he's played a decent amount. He had a really good game yesterday. So I think I look towards those heroes as maybe some of the top contested heroes because the 4 position pool is a bit more limited.
Good shout, Gods. Spirit banned out first. Wow. And Lifestealer on the other side, which is, again, a pretty popular first round ban.
Monkey King is overpowered.
Have you decided now?
He's
because you were kind of on the fence a little bit in the groups.
People were playing him weird. People were roaming around and trying
to
do some crazy ganks. You just park him in whatever lane you want your hero to farm, and there's nothing anyone can do. He just trades way too well with his like passive auto attack thing, and yeah, it's banned for good reason.
Yeah, and the Bat Rider. That's an earlier ban than normal, but
in July respect.
Yeah, IG.V consistently picks it in the first phase, so it's not surprising at all they ban it first round.
Leaves Magnus in the pool, but we're seeing maybe some teams adjust, run some more like ranged-oriented lineups to try and deal and combat the Magnus. So maybe teams are just feeling like that's a hero they're going to have to let start slipping through.
That's fine. I think teams have kind of figured out the Magnus a little bit better. We saw IG.V like expertly maneuver around an early Magnus pick.
Yeah. They almost, that played perfectly into what they were doing. Like
from
Magnus,
LFY.
They banned out all the Magnus partners as well, so.
Yeah.
First pick Silencer.
I was not expecting this when I got to the tournament.
Flavor hero.
That's a Chinese meta pick. They just they like their silencers.
It brings a lot of team fight for, just a 5 position hero.
Even his laning stage is pretty good too.
Yeah, he's not bad in lane. He's actually pretty strong in lane. He really lacks catch, and he doesn't offer like any tower push or like objective taking. But as long as you kind of fill those roles with other heroes on your team, he can be really effective.
It's in a huge amount of jug, actually. In fact, I know there was a pick yesterday. There was a few bans.
This team right here played. IG.V played it yesterday, so that's their hero. They just love it. Both Cicada and Paparazzi played, so it's kind of flexible. They can play it mid, play it carry, but
he works really well against Silencer. He's a really high tempo hero who likes to fight often.
And you're always going to buy Manta, so you don't even have to worry too much about the silence.
For sure. Yeah, we'll see how many kind of like anti-global silence heroes they pick.
Yeah.
And this is heroes that like naturally build Yules or Lotus Orb or Mantas or have some sort of ability to kind of like disengage from fights.
Maybe they'll just do something really safe, like typical Rubik-ish pick.
Slaughter.
I like that. It allows them to start the fight instead of react to the global silence.
Nah. Earth Spirit Monkey already banned out, so 4 position pool already getting a bit more limited.
Yeah, makes sense to slot in that Slardar. He's kind of probably like number 3 on that list. If you had to put someone there.
So a nice Wyvern yesterday from Dogfights, but
that's true.
That's like the more like obscure niche picks that you need to fit the right
That
draft.
hero's kind of like anti-Vengeful Spirit. We saw that he made Vengeful Spirit. Vengeful Spirit kind of boosts up the physical damage of all your teammates. So if you end up landing a Wyvern ult on anyone, all the right clicks coming into that hero are super strong.
So with the Centaur pick gives VGJ pretty good lane setups, relatively. It's not amazing versus Jug, but it can work okay.
Just a solid hero. Didn't go for the Magnus.
Really
Might look to ban it out.
I also like how Centaur is going to really allow them to punish during global silence. Like a lot of times when you're playing against a silencer, as soon as he pops it, everyone just runs away. But if you have Stampede and global silence, you can certainly engage.
Yeah, there's nothing scarier than a Centaur Stampede running at you, and you can't do anything about it. just turning around and force staffing or just walking away as fast as you can.
If you're wondering what the cheers are at home, is basically whenever they put ROTK on the screen today. It was burning yesterday. It's ROTK today.
It'll be burning tomorrow.
Yes.
That's why there's actually nobody here, because they know Bernie doesn't play today.
Yeah, burning is an off day. The stadium is pretty empty.
It was quite low yesterday morning as well. I think the Chinese seem to prefer coming in a little bit later. So
it's a Sunday.
Certainly filled up yesterday.
You don't want to wake up at 9 in the morning on a Sunday.
Well, it's even earlier than that to get here, isn't it? You have to be here at the gate for 9. So yeah, super early on a Sunday, of course. Very unusual tournament that goes on to Tuesday. I don't think I've ever done a tournament which finished on a Tuesday and started on a Saturday.
Didn't we have one TI the finals was on Monday?
Yes.
I think that happened. That was weird.
Yes. I've done a few like that, though, over bank holidays in the UK where they actually plan them to finish on Mondays, but never Tuesdays. Very unusual. Anyway, back to draft.
Carry pool getting banned out by IG.V, limiting what aggressive can play. But I mean, we've seen it mostly on lifesteal. Like most carries this tournament, I guess, have always been mostly on lifesteal. Here is very strong right now.
Left the Magnus.
Yeah. Neither team particularly favouring that.
Could work well with Juggernaut.
I see it now.
I guess they're feeling the silencer is a good enough solution to it, but
yeah, that's the thing is like Magnus kind of just starts the fight, or he can just start the fight,
and eventually you get a BKB too. So
the Rubik kind of delaying the Magnus pick, perhaps. Didn't want to give up the Rubik into the Magnus, so they picked the Rubik first, and then they could fourth pick the Magnus. I'm selling Magnus pretty hard right now, but
I mean, VGJ can't pick it really, right?
Exactly.
Because they've got Centaur, so
yeah.
If anything, it just delays the knowledge.
They could have picked Rubik.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. VGJ could grab Rubik. Yeah.
Which is an FY special.
Indeed, legendary.
Yeah, I wonder what FY will play. I miss the FY Bounty Hunter.
FY Marana, that was always a good one too.
Oh yeah, Marana, but not the greatest support combo to duel with it.
I don't see this being a Marana game. No, not good against Jug at all.
Yeah. Oh, an arrow's coming?
Yeah, maybe it was more of a...
3 ways to not die here. Dodge it, press my skill.
Maybe it was more of it than I picked than we thought.
I actually played a game of Marana the other day.
How'd you do?
Bad.
That's...
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the arrows land, sometimes they don't. That's that's Dota.
A bit fluky. Do you know what the final talent is on that one as well?
Yeah, it's the 3
triple arrows.
Triple arrows.
It's good fun.
Crazy. I'm going to get triple luck.
We're running pretty low on time here.
Yeah, that's caused a few issues, isn't it, for VGJ? Yeah. A little bit to think about here.
They see both the supports of IG.V, so the mood makes,
I could see them going for maybe an Invoker on VGJ as well. Centaur setup. Tusk kind of covers it too.
Tusk is so fun to watch. And we actually seen the FY play it early in this tournament, and they won.
He wrecked that game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did.
Was that against, was that the game against OG that they won? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Those
they had
only
final data groups.
Only game OG
Freeze was playing Lina.
Yeah, I think they just go burst damage here. That way they can kill during Global Silence.
Yeah, I mean, they've got no damage between those 3 heroes. Both aggressive and Freeze's hero is going to be some high damage heroes. Freeze plays a lot of Ember, could be something you think of.
I was going to say Ember's in there, Invoker's in there.
Ember Stormer probably is 2 heroes. Tinker maybe is a consideration.
Whoa. The Bounty Hunter on the other side.
Whoa.
It's really good for pressuring Silencer. I think that's actually one weakness that teams are haven't been exploiting, is that like level 1, level 2, that hero's really vulnerable to roaming Invis heroes. He's got kind of crappy armor, kind of crappy HP. He can't stop heroes from hitting him. He just kind of nukes him.
I feel like Tusk will just show up.
That's
Tusk
true.
is pretty good against Bounty in the early game.
Yeah. So, but then they have to stay together, and Silencer can't roam very well. So it's basically like force them to be together, or at least only harass away from towers.
If they're both together in the safe lane, Bounty Hunter can head towards the mid lane, potentially win that lane for them as well. There's that Ember.
Yeah.
Could do the Jug mid now. Pretty good matchup versus Ember if they want to get a carry, but.
Especially with Bounty.
Yeah, they get to see VGJ's last pick, and they can decide their 10th pick of the draft, whether they want to go mid carry and just look to utilize that.
They can either put Jug in the safe lane up against like Centaur, for example, or they could pick something that might lane a little better in Centaur and throw Jug mid, because Jug versus Ember is a pretty good matchup already. But they could also pick something that's just anti-Ember in the mid lane, whether it's an OD or I wouldn't like OD actually against Silencer, but they could go Shadow Fiend still.
Yep. That'd be really good. Just get a BKB core like in the front line, because Jug has some issues doing that. So
yeah, he's got to be a little careful. You know, he gets Centaur stomped and then into Global Silence, and he could die.
I'd be kind of iffy playing SF against Ember Tusk though. That doesn't sound very fun. I feel like I'm just gonna get run down in the laning stage and killed a lot.
Definitely possible. But if they, you know, they have the opportunity to pick pretty like, no, you're right. Oh, Ursa. Oh, okay. I like it.
Yeah, pretty good. Like you get amped Omni Slash, you just pop your ult and you can soak up that damage pretty nicely. Good front line to have.
He's definitely matches up really well against Juggernaut. But what I really like is that how much kind of self-sufficiency he provides VGJ in the laning phase. Now, this is going to help them deal with the Bounty Hunter. Because we talked about that Bounty Hunter roaming between a couple lanes and them not necessarily being able to deal with it. But now I think Tusk and Silencer will have a lot of freedom to move throughout the map. And I think like Ursa Silencer, for example, will be totally fine against Slardar Bounty Hunter.
Yeah. And also IG.V is very likely to grab a BKB core or something like that for the last pick. And Ursa's just typically very good against those. So I feel like they not only covered their lanes, but also protect them against whatever IG.V picks.
Yeah, they are lacking in a couple of different categories, though. We've seen Ursa lineups just fail over and over this tournament.
I mean, how do you hit buildings? That's the biggest area. You look at this draft and you can say, how do they win games and hit buildings?
Not the hardest of initiations from IG.V, so Ursa with a Deso might feel kind of safe walking up to buildings, but Ember's not going to, and Centaur, I guess, can hit the buildings if he's really stacked.
Yeah.
But Shadow Fiend
Kevin didn't like it, but they seem to.
Well, I think that's...
They had to, I think.
Yeah, it's...
Range, you want range carry versus Ursa that can kind of cut him around a bit. So
we'll see. I like VGJ's laning phase just for the fact that when IG.V kind of roams mid to help the Shadow Fiend, that the side lanes for VGJ will kind of win the 1v1s.
Okay. That's cool.
All right, very quick predictions. Let's go down the line. Kevin.
I like VGJ's draft better, I think.
Okay.
I'll take IG.V. I feel like they have tools to win the game. And that's where I think the other VGJ is lacking.
Okay.
I'm with Kevin on this one. VG Gaming.
Ganging up on Peter in the middle.
Yeah. He's a TI champ. I don't like how odds, but you know.
No building damage. There's no way for them to end the game. Unless they just crush.
Okay, so Gods is going with
and
IG.
FY I trust.
With IG Vitality as well.
I
go with Vici. I'm with Vici.
Are you going to you're going to switch?
I believe in I believe in FY.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay. So I thought Peter may have persuaded you, but
no.
It turns out not. So there it is, 2-1 for our opening game of the day. It is a best of 3, so we will be seeing our panel members once more at the end. But let's now head down game side to our commentary team of Fogged and Coddle Guy.
We get ready for our opening matchup of day 2. And it's IG.V versus VGJ. IG.V, as we know, able to kind of just bully and run right past LGD. VGJ, though, take a game away from NP that maybe shouldn't have been theirs. Now, here we are, Fogged. The panel seems to think VGJ have great, strong lanes, but are they going to be able to follow it up, taking down objectives?
I'm concerned for Ursa. I'm going to have to go side with Peter here. I do like IG.V's strategy. I like what they've got going for them. I think it's just overall they have a better win condition. Hate using that word, hate using that term, but still I just do think they do be able to break the high ground and everything. It's just going to be able to work out for them. We'll see how their rotations work. We'll see if the Bounty Hunter works as well. It's going to be cool.
Right. Let's get dark and let's get into it now. It is game time here. Both these teams looking to battle it out through the nitty-gritty and battle their way. They've made it out from those scary best of ones, which is one step in itself. But now it's time to really prove your worth and make it in through the second round here. As we get underway, we keep tabs on the laning phase to see what kind of setups they're going to be going for here. Keep eyes, of course, on this gentleman. Dogfights, as we know, very aggressive player in the early laning stage, to see if he's going to be trying to keep tabs and try to pressure the Ember Spirit, or maybe head to the side lane and pressure the Silencer and just keep him at bay.
I think just, keep eyes on the Tusk, because it's really important so that they can't make the roaming potential onto the Shadow Fiend.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the panel was saying, just like Kevin was saying too, like trying to just force those supports to stick in an area, then make those kind of rotations away from them. Just trying to keep an eye on them though. Definitely, like FY is going to be a concern if he does get a couple of nice rotations onto the Shadow Fiend.
Aggressive sporting, that extremely expensive set.
Yep.
On Ursa, just kind of showing that, you know, I'm a TI finalist. Shout outs, of course, to Wepas, who's going to be our observer for this one. bright and early morning as we get into action, and IG.V not afraid to possibly clash here. Dogfight scouting things out in the high ground, but following it up is going to be Super. Telekinesis there. They're trying to get the early first blood onto Freeze. A snowball will come out from FY, and now they're going to move it on forward. Packing up aggressive for the fight. They're going to take it right back to him and drop down Super. Now a turnaround Monster Crush comes out. And welcome to the first game
of
VGJ versus IG. Can they get a hold of him? Little Fenrir's going to make it out. In July, though, gets off the crush, but ultimately he should be going down. They need a bit more, and they'll get it with a snowball. VGJ scoffing at IG. How dare you try to come in and invade our bounty rune?
Tusk Ursa, level 1, is something definitely to be feared. Every single time he lets the Ursa close the gap, plus the Orb of Venom slow, they're able to just bring them down, even though IG does get the initial gone on them. The spin was wasted. Their mass damage potential in the early laning phase, in the early game, was used already there. So,
I mean, you look at IG's lineup, you can't say that they don't have a bad level 1. So maybe they were just not assuming so many bodies were just going to suddenly be there for VG.
Just perfect snowball.
Yeah, just great snowball, great turnaround, and a monster level 1 already breaking out, and a big confidence boost for VGJ here is. We break down the lanes. Super doing his best to kind of phase out ROTK in the top lane, but he has that solo safe lane to work with as they kind of get a bit more aggressive in the southern part of the map. Aggressive, really going toe-to-toe against In July.
ROTK is dead.
Oh, and he gets taken under the tower. Classic ROTK.
Yeah, he's got to. You have to really be careful. He got harassed a little bit by the Rubik, couple extra right clicks by Paparazzi, and then just gets spinned down. That's the nice thing of the aggression. They did have to expend a lot of regen for it now, so Paparazzi and Super actually have no regen between the two of them for this off lane now. Just definitely a concerning issue. I think they should probably be able to bring some up there. Otherwise, they're going to have to make rotations soon if the Silencer does start putting out harassment.
Yeah, they have that block, so poor little Fenrir here is now trying to bully back a lane where they kind of have an advantage here with Super having that second level. It looks like he will be able to pull the aggro a bit. Nah, he holds onto a couple of the birds, but doesn't make it to the lane in time. Trying to pull it back a bit so it's not in the safety zone for ROTK. But as the mid lane here, trading under the tower, Sakata trying to get disrespected. Freeze looking to move in. Hits a couple of tower shots, and a pause is going to get forced out. Bit of an awkward timing there, but Sakata does happen to juke what looks like the correct direction.
That's concerning for Freeze. He's in a precarious situation right now. Ember being a very low armor hero under the tower. He's kind of speedy right now, but
where are you gonna go, buddy? It looks like someone's drawing.
The lines are being drawn. They're like, all right, we gotta make a plan right now. Freeze, we gotta save you.
We have FY agent nearby by the bottom rune, maybe could rotate over. He might be level 2, so perhaps a long ball shards or something could bail him out, but we could see Sakata turn the corner here and suddenly pull back the reins in this mid lane. Looks like our sound issue is quickly getting, I just assumed it was a sound issue, but whatever issue it is getting resolved here at the moment, and we'll be able to get back into action.
All right, here we go. Let's see what happens.
All right, Freeze.
Freeze definitely has to cut down.
Another shot under the tower, but
he's got boots, so he is very mobile. Tusk is making the rotation over as well. Sakata not very healthy.
He just chews on some spinach and walks himself back into the lane. But maybe something Sakata won't expect is FY agent is still here. At the moment, though, unfortunate timing for him as he doubles back for the courier.
Oh, Freeze gets a regen rune top.
Mighty Frog has blessed Freeze on this day. And you can even hear the audience like, oh, how good for you, Freeze. Yeah. You could just feel it here.
He took a risk to try to go for the dive, gets a regen rune. I mean, that's the dream right there. If you got the kill, it would have been even more.
Your cojones have been rewarded, sir. Yeah. Back at bottom, dogfights, still trying to find where he can add a bit of pressure here, trying to pull the aggro away from aggressive so he can't take it into the lane, and looks like he will do so, but he's not able to zone back the aggressive, so I'm curious to see what they're going to try to do with him at this point. As dogfights pick up packing and head elsewhere to add a bit of extra pressure, maybe towards the top lane, or do you think he's doing enough being down here poking at the bear?
I think they just don't want to leave In July alone, and I think they don't want to be able to like splitting tri-lane experience. They want to get maybe like 1 or 2 levels on the bounty hunter first before he starts making those big rotations. Because he does, I mean, once he gets level 3, if he gets like a shuriken toss, they're able to actually break the Ember Shield and go for kills with the Shadow Fiend. Sakata scouting him out.
Yeah, pings exactly where FY was and just kind of pokes his head on and says, I know you're there, by the way, so you want to leave now?
Here we go. They've got level 2 now.
Okay.
So they've got the Janata as well, but the Sentry is down. Spots dogfights. They're going to have to best back up.
Gank thwarted. Looks like here, VGJ will kind of avoid the pressure from that one a bit. And that does relieve a bit of Aggressive's troubles, if there were any troubles for him in the bottom lane, knowing the Bounty Hunter is not in attendance. He can continue to go to work there.
Freeze doing some bait play right here, it looks like, but uh-oh.
Tried to sidestep the raise, but ends up going down. FY will end up rolling in with the snowball and at least getting a bit of redemption there, but Freeze overplays his hand a little bit.
Yeah, he was baiting, but it was just, took a little bit more damage than he was expecting.
Yeah. Tried to shrug off a lot of it, maybe with the help of the Flame Guard and a careful sidestep, but fortunately with timing not working out, he has to kind of TP back to the lane and get back to the grind there. Setting out, waiting out the Arcane Rune at the top of the river for him.
Yeah, kind of as expected. Vichi's lane's a little bit stronger, as the panel was mentioning as well.
Yep.
Just pulling a little bit ahead, especially also because of the first blood situation which happened.
Things going a little as expected here. For the first time in a while, though, VGJ getting the upper hand in the top lane now as they lead it up with a curse, a snowball in. Super will get caught out. Nice shards there from FY to lock him in place.
Great movement coming out. Yeah. They're not even expecting Dogfights. Could maybe be doing a bit of a better job scouting him, but also FY is just having very good rotations just coming in at the opportune times.
Yeah, he'd been floating between that bottom and mid lane for quite a while, and then it catches IG a bit off guard when he makes the full rotation all the way up north at this point. So still, VG taking advantage of their strong lanes here, getting a lot out of it, and still have more peaks to look forward to. I would imagine ROTK getting close to that level 6. Then he had Stampede to work with. Aggressive might, eventually step away from this bottom lane setup and try to get some blood on his hands. For now, probably going to be handing the lane over to someone else in the bottom while he works in the nearby jungle.
Yeah, he's just waiting for the shrine. Doesn't want to have to go back to base. Just getting a little bit extra bonus farm. Very risky though, sitting at very low health. If Dogfights was there, he'd be able to grab that kill.
Yeah, we haven't been seeing a crazy amount of Bounty Hunter in this tournament. You got to remember though, he is a part of the game. For now, the Dogfight's still flirting around.
Yeah, this is a good lane swap. They're already we're not really farming well on Paparazzi. He's not having the greatest lane top. They're not able to really pressure the Centaur after that first blood because of the rotations and because they lack the regen, as I was mentioning. They just kept getting harassed. They can't really walk up there in fear. Yeah. So Paparazzi makes it move bottom. Dogfights, he's hasted though.
Yeah, look at this. Running all out.
Gets him with shards.
Gets him with the shards. FY sets it up, then Dogfights frantically hiding. Golems help me here, but they'll just slash him apart.
Damn, FY.
He's, we don't get to see him play Tusk very often, but he knows how to throw the snow. That was awesome.
Beautiful. I mean, perfect rotations coming out from FY from the beginning of this game, even at the first blood, all the way coming in now to 6-minute mark. He's involved in pretty much all the kills now. Aggressive, making his first move top. He actually picks up. That's something completely unexpected, right? Yep. The Ursa just comes out and ganks here. What the hell is the Ursa doing up here now? Yeah, but it's the same kind of mirror rotation. We see the Jug go bottom, so Ursa's like, all right, I'm going top. And now RTK switches up. So those type of just mirror rotations that we do see very often now.
All right, so they are holding on to their leash and their advantage in this laning phase as the fights begin to break out a bit. As level 6s come under their belts though, and they're being able to get that to work, we want to see them try to push forward and get those +1s, get those tier 1s taken down. You don't want IG to just kind of have a tough laning phase and then still be able to play the economy game and then suddenly show up to play in the mid game. Yeah. And VGJ could be stunted a bit, but now getting their ideal matchup once again. ROTK going toe-to-toe with Paparazzi at the moment. He is so close to that level 6 now.
Ember is 6 now. Shadow Fiend just gonna have to just go to the jungle. There's just too much aggression that can come out of that mid lane. Too many ways to get on top of him and kill him. And Sakata, I mean, you're a Shadow Fiend. You just jungle faster anyway. You might as well just get
Bounty Hunter mid lane and going for track. Dogfights though. You leave Bounty Hunter in the mid lane though, and they recognize that. They'll take advantage of it. Freeze hates a shot, walks away, considering he has no blue bar, it's fine. FY tries to sidestep here. I don't know if he's going to find any way to deny. Nice. Golem comes up and hits him on the right hook and says, I'll do it.
All right, FY, take it easy this game, man. He's actually just everywhere.
He's having a hell of a game. All right, IG, have to chalk up another one here. And it feels like more and more they're baking up for a big mid game, a big period to kind of build up on back of the track money. While VGJ are just kind of scooting by with a wonderful laning phase, a 7-2 kill advantage. And as you can see, in July now level 6. And with the corrosive haze here, can bring an extra bit of physical firepower.
They're stealing this big stack right now with Sakata. Aggressive now trying to make something happen. Dogfights actually reveals himself.
Oh no.
Oh no, he's gonna get dusted. He's gotta get brought down easily. In July though, he's gonna get a crush follow-up, but a Dogfight's dead for sure. +2 to Fenrir.
All right.
Oh, Fenrir's so smart right now. Look at this, 8 already. Oh no, aggressive.
So smart, but then Sakata jumps in and raises the hell out of aggressive.
That's a massive kill for your Shadow Fiend there, killing the carry of the other team. Look how far ahead he just pulled up.
He just showed up to the top lane. He missed the whole fight, and he's like, well, I didn't come here for no reason. Just blasts down the bear and says, that's good for me. And takes
did he do that one?
Back.
I didn't get a chance to. Did he do it directly from Fog? Was it just there as I couldn't see him there, or just aggressive, just not expecting it at all?
It
looked like it probably was from Fog.
It was straight down the line, right through aggressive.
Brutal.
Got him in that beautiful mid-range spot. Now, RTK with rotation down to the bottom lane. Aggressive TPs, hiding within the trees, then shows himself. With the power of the Stampede, he runs right in, gets some slaps onto Paparazzi. He tries to blade Fury out from this one. Does he have the move speed to make it away? Does look like they're going to change their target and go for Super instead. One more shot should get the finish, and Aggressive will pick it up.
Nice rotation, again, from Aggressive. VGJ just very keen on this laning phase, just constantly trying to run at people.
Level 6s are online. Let's put them to work.
Yep. Stampede comes online. A mid lane, Freeze, going for a play here too with the Ember.
Sakata
gets pushed a little bit back.
Gets the TP assistance there.
Sakata going for the Yule's build. So removing the silence, remove the embers, kiting possibilities for the Ursa, the combos too.
The Spirit Bomb, yeah.
Yeah, Spirit Bomb.
Shout outs to, I believe, Starladder Season 7 was like the first time I see that, which went into thereafter the first DAC 2 years ago. And that's when
Sumail did it, and that's when it was a
hell of a show.
And then it got nerfed. Yule's got nerfed.
And here we are with a bit of a throwback here. And as you mentioned, the item pretty appropriate for this game, if anything. So.
Yeah, multiple different uses versus the side of Vici. Not only saving himself for his initiations, but yeah, definitely a good pickup here versus the Silencer and the Ember.
IG still bouncing around their Bounty Hunter a bit, utilizing his scouting capability, gets down some deep wards, but also need to get him those levels, man. Book is available if they want to kind of purchase it and get him in
lane again, Sakata.
Roll in from FY, set for Sakata, can't go for the finish. Rotations are coming out now. And the Stampede is out. They think about doing a 180, run right back in, looking to go for Sakata, but they can't catch him. Bring around the Rosie through the tree, but they'll finally get the pop. Now they look for a return kill onto Freeze, and it will be there.
Dogfight's living because of his raindrop, 10 HP. Woo. That's good. You just said you wanted to track, right? He just wanted to get his levels, so he just picks up himself a nice kill onto Freeze, getting close to that level 6 onto the Bounty Hunter.
It looked like that all started with an FY dive onto the tower, and they keep trying to do so, punishing Sakata, but then they get put in that awkward spot just behind it with the trees that they're able to juke in and out of. Rotations come in, the shrine nearby helps out too. It's just...
I mean, this is what VGJ's draft needs to do in the laning phase, in the mid game. They need to just be constantly running at them, because the only way that they break high ground, like I mean, I said it before, like the win condition is that they need to just be dominating. They need to be excessively ahead versus IG.V's lineup in order to really go for those high ground sieges, those big objectives.
We're already seeing now a couple of misplays, turnarounds, freebies being handed over, and IG haven't even been able to get to that point where they can really make the money. They're getting there now as mid game does approach, and it looks like they're drawing out a game plan to head up and through that top lane, where currently VG are favoring Fenrir, obviously getting that level 6. He has global available now. So if they want to set up a new play here, leading with a Stampede Silence, they can do it. But bottom lane, it's Freeze. Getting the jump, getting the finish onto Super.
Yeah, just that happens, you know, when you have 4 heroes, you're trying to push it lane, your other support's like trying to get his 6, or trying to get a little bit of farm and not lose that bottom tower. It's one of those things as a support, you're like, I'm probably going to die down here, but you know what, guys, you're going to get the tier 1 top, and yeah, maybe he could have avoided that death, but not the biggest problem if he dies there.
RTK is getting super close to that Blink Dagger now. Just 250 away. Might urge them to just stay away from taking fights until they at least get it finished.
Him and In July are very close, very even on the Blink Dagger coming out.
Okay.
It's going to be about 400 for In July. RTK is going to have maybe a couple minutes, maybe a minute earlier, maybe 30 seconds earlier.
All right, pings near the pit here.
Oh, they're going for the Rose Short very early with the corrosive phase, and it's Sakata, I believe, has his Presence of the Dark Lord, maybe 1 levels on it. Yeah, so he gets the extra -3 armor on that too.
I mean, you're taking away from an Ursa lineup.
That's a really good point.
That's exactly what they want to do. I mean, this is part of also VG's game plan, I'd imagine, to swell up and just be way too of a dominant force, but now they're looking to intercept him a bit. Potential catch super low, has to get the hell back. It looks like they will do so. VG, enough pressure though to force IG to second guess going in for the Roche, and they'll have to save that plan for another day.
I think it's just a little bit safer to just wait for the Blink Dagger. Like, they don't have a good form of initiation. Sure, they have the bounty for vision, but this Sentry Ward is pretty much being placed everywhere by VG.
RTK has this Blink. I bet they're smoked right there behind that tower, aren't they?
Yep.
Yes, they are. Here they come.
They're making the move.
It's time to get some blood on this dagger.
Ooh, wait a minute.
It was under the vision of IG. If they happen to see that rune just disappear out of nowhere,
it looks like they knew.
They're going to be like, that's fishy.
Here.
They're like, that rune disappeared in thin air. It's an invis rune, I know, but come on.
Rule of thumb.
Something's fishy.
Rule of thumb, if you are smoking toward the safe lane, making your first rotation for those towers, you usually don't want to be picking up those runes, but in this one, they already got the tower here. They could have probably netted themselves a kill, though. So a little bit of a mistake coming out, but
they
whatever.
round the corner, and they could end up hitting up mid from behind here. A pretty decent position with that invis ROTK. Ooh, they drop the sentry. They're making a move for FY, even with the Omni Slash. The global comes out, but it might be a bit late. They'll still use it to try to take a fight. Freeze does get used up, trying to get the burst play there. Sakata fires out his own, and it looks like we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of bloodshed. With the takedown of Jug, though, VG get a prize pick. It's good. Probably not as good as they were hoping for, leading this all in with the smoke and with the global also committed. It's good, but now look at IG can just kind of move in, even without their Jug, and get back to business for the Roche. You know, with Stampede on cooldown, global on cooldown, not much to stop them. Tasty treat for VG, but obviously we're hoping to get a bit more. But FY,
they don't kill it as fast as they'd like.
Yeah.
VG has a couple different methods to be able to spam them out with the Ember, the Tusk, the Curse coming out from the Silencer too. Intimidation Remnant coming out.
Super awkward here. They need that extra bit of physical power coming in.
Oh, they're going to get the wraparound.
Everybody on the team on board with this game plan.
Everybody's like, let's go around this way. Oh, no, let's go around this way.
Oh,
yeah,
but is it predictable? Look who's going to be on the high ground, possibly. Oh, they don't know. Aggressive is actually moving in for the Ancients. They spot the little cowboy bear, and they take them apart.
Three-man stop by RTK, though.
Yeah, but it might be too late. They already lost most of their firepower, but Freeze does show up now to help supplement that. They are going to get the takedown of Dogfight, but the follow-up stun's there from In July. On the other side, Sakata going to get blasted apart, and it is still VG's fight to take.
Buyback as well from Aggressive. Now they're going to go for the Roche with the Ursa. Very good decision to buy back. Even though he didn't get himself like a kill, like that many kills, it's for the Roche.
Yep. Shrines, just a wonderful addition.
Oh, nice, beautiful shards from FY. Stampede coming out super. Bye-bye. +2. Now he's at 16 on Fenrir.
Man. I was just kind of jokingly saying, like, Shrines add to the game, make opportunities like that possible, you know? Just buy back. I'll just Shrine in the middle of the fight TP. And as if I never was gone in the first place. You know, IG commit in hard, they get a lot done for Aggressive, but then they don't have as much for the follow-up. And yeah, RTK holding him there with that beautiful stun lead-in allows the whole thing to go down. And, you know, great for VG. They take that Roche. They have one tier 1 going down the bottom lane, but do you think they're just happy with how it's going now? Do you think there's still that concern of not being able to kind of move forward with the overall scope of this game?
They're feeling a little bit better because they got the Roche and they just had that, I mean, this big team fight. But they still want to be able to just, I mean, they want to be claiming those tier 1s as fast as possible. Really good 3-man stun there by ROTK. The follow-up with Freeze. Just so much magic damage with that newly purchased Veil. Sakata wasn't able to get Requiem because it was still on cooldown. So their big team fight ultimate wasn't, their only real big team fight ultimate was on cooldown there. So a little bit of a bold play there that they're trying to go for. Since Global was down, they thought that they'd be a little bit stronger. But without Requiem, it's a bit tough.
It's kind of hard to fault them after that first initial setup where they're not able to finish the Roche and they're like, let's just smoke, let's wrap around. If we get a good pick on this aggressive kill, then we can take the Roche for ourselves. But VG understand the value of this moment in time in the game. They take a good fight.
VG's de-warding and everything. Just they are very prepared for this bounty hunter. They take a look around.
Nice little
quick
pick off. Execution onto Super there, spotted from the high ground.
Nice.
They were smoked for that approach, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, they had a ward up there, but obviously under the smoke, not going to be seeing that one coming.
These tier 1s are pretty important for VG. Just need to close that map control a bit. Just keep that aggression non-stop.
And without too many crazy successful fights, that means we're not getting a lot of track money here for IG, and their growth is just kind of stunted right now. Oh, Paparazzi confident in this top lane, but they're quickly converging on top of him.
Gets the spin off, but he's going to get punched by FY.
Oh, uppercutted. And sent crashing down. He gets dropped. Dominating performance for Freeze.
That's another big reason to have this Tusk. You know, they didn't really have any other method to stop the spin TP, but with the Tusk, they're able to do that with the punch.
Yeah, that's actually
It's always good to have one of those. It's always good to have one of those type of things. We do see a lot of teams tend to draft that. Like when you see the Jug picked up early on, they usually have like one hero, like Axe or something, to stop those spin TPs, like some type of situation like that.
Yeah, we may just see more of that tusk pop up and going against something like the Jug, just because Axe is falling out of favor in the offlane when you have the power of your mags and centaurs and stuff coming here. Top lane, IG, still one track money, and you know,
gotta defend these tier ones.
They need to almost have everyone at attendance for these kind of fights too. Yeah. And now you have Global's going to be up for VG. There's just no easy fights to take here. But you can already see and just feel the difference between these 4 positions in this game. Like the FY impact in the early game, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, his hero damage is already 4.5k. That's a support at less than 20 minutes in the game. That's fairly high. His levels are going to be extremely good too, since he's involved in majority of the kills, and now he already has his 40% XP talent. He's almost level 12, going to be picking up a Blink Dagger. Blink is going to be great not only for initiates, for getting out of sticky situations, helping his teammates as well. An Omni Slash comes in, or a Requiem. If they do try to do, let's say, like the Yules into Requiem combo, he can blink in, snowball somebody instantly, and get those survivability things. So FY already prepping around the item choices that IG.V has chosen.
We saw a bit of it in that previous skirmish under the VG Shrine where Aggressive was able to buy back and TP in. He had prolonged things with the power of his snowball, sharding out other opponents and just kind of making things long-winded, which they love. That means more chains, more time for people to kind of get back into the fight.
They also now, VG also has like 4 different ways of just like mobility and getting on top of people during the global. So with like now a blink on Ember as well. So now it's like everybody kind of has their own, except for the Silencer, they all have like a really hard way to just get into the backline, just get into the fight during the global and burst somebody down. Global coming out, Paparazzi looks like he might be in trouble. ROTK with the stun, with double edge. Do they have enough? They do. IG.V. Paparazzi dies again.
This is hitting IG pretty damn hard. It's obvious VG is still feeling a lot of the momentum from their successful MP match yesterday, and they're not stopping now. This tier 2 is going to get dropped. And for a team that hasn't been able to throw together a lot of tower hitters or ways to take objectives, they're getting it done now. Mid lane though, FY may be the sacrifice here. Though he's got the snowball and the time he needs a bit.
Blink's on cooldown though. Yeah, is he gonna be able to get raised? Yes.
Nice snipe there from Sakata.
But Aggressive's going in, gets Yules right away.
Step off.
And gets thwarted.
Very nice. He'll have to pull off there. It's a forgiving pick. And probably a little bit of track money, but ooh.
Nice little play there. Perfectly timed slight.
Freeze just dancing around with him now. And IG gotta start looking for new options here. What do you think those options should be? We haven't been able to see them kind of move out with too many smoke plays. They've been kind of really concerned about that ever since their thwarted smoke that they tried to invade with previously. But it looks like we might have something new now.
They've got BKB online for the Shadow Fiend. I think that they ideally want to be waiting for Paparazzi's Manta, but he's like, every time I try to go for these like split off to farm, I'm just getting picked off. So let's just go for a team fight. Maybe then I can finish up the Manta style off of that. Go for another tier 1, some pressure.
Now they have pressure in the mid lane from Sakata. Maybe a mild bait, as it looks like IG take to the high ground here, but with VG's current positioning, oh, poor Fenrir could be the one to go scout it. No. Dogfights now. Moves in close enough to get the vision for the Fenrir setup. Could be easy track money, a jump and play. FY wants to save his partner in crime, puts him inside the snowball, pulls him back, but I don't think he'll be making it out from there. He ends up getting dropped. The Omni Slash will fly out.
Paparazzi's going to die as well.
Mild damage, though. It's mitigated easily between him, and now Paparazzi puts himself into a bit of trouble, and he is done for here. Another significant, heavy-handed fight for VG.
ROTK just went onto Sakata. Sakata doesn't get his BKB off, gets annihilated before the fight even starts, so the wraparound that his team was preparing ends up being a kind of a bait. They kind of got baited themselves. They're like, oh, we have a Shadow Fiend pushing in. He's going to get BKB off and survive. But no, gets bursted instantly. Great reactions from VG to go for the Shadow Fiend, not reacting to saving Fenrir too much, just FY reacting for that one.
Just there and in the right place when IG just think that they're trying to smoke, come in from behind the tower and get a forgiving pick or two with the help of track, but no, not at all. VG there, really employing that buddy-buddy system. And now VG can move towards the top lane and claim that tier 1 that still stands. IG to the drawing board, man. It is not looking good. 8-23 and about 23 minutes into the game.
And Aggressive's going for the good item build that the panel was mentioning, that we've been seeing, that like NP was theory crafting and everything. At Summit, we do see the Desolator going to be picked up from that Ursa, since that hero, so like we always say, suffers at breaking high ground. That gives you the method to be able to do so. IG.V, this one feels like a little bit of a
desperate,
but they. Yeah,
but heading into the high ground of Vici, they're going to see him. They will be able to spot little Fenrir here, but Aggressive, the bad bear, next to him, looking to go for one more slash and the finish onto Slardar on the other front. Dogfights hit from the uppercut here. Snowball back in. Can Sakata be able to get the finish? He will be able to bring down a little silencer, but Freeze still around, pops out a slight, jumping in Aggressive, gets one last slap and a finish on the poor little Dogfights. Re-engagement now. The jump from RTK gets the crush, and Sakata's gone. They will be able to bring down Aggressive here, but at what cost? Paparazzi's life could be at stake. Oh, the shard's not quite there to block, but they have him surrounded, and they have him finished.
Godlike on Freeze already.
Yeah, this is a clinic being put on from VGJ. All repercussions from a wonderful and strong laning phase they've been able to draft themselves into.
It's a massive amount of magical damage that they really do have with this Veil on the Ember. They have like the Centaur, all of his abilities get buffed up, Tusk as well, Silencer, everything just becomes a lot more, becomes amplified a lot more, and IG.V doesn't really have anything to react with this. With the Bounty Hunter and the Rubik being so under-leveled, under-farmed, it's really just hurting them a lot. Looking at the replay, Fenrir does get crushed. They're not able to bring him down instantly though, so he gets the global off, Stampede comes out, and that's where the fight just becomes super difficult. It becomes Vici just having the ease of execution there. They click global, they click Stampede, just like Peter was saying. When you see that running at you, you're like, oh my god, we can't do anything, we can't react. Sakata, I'm pretty sure, I don't think he even had full souls there. It looked like a low soul Requiem. Didn't even deal out the most damage, and Vici just way too durable at this point with the amount of levels and farm that they've accrued.
They're fighting it through these trees, all these little choke points and alleys, and then you get one shard that blocks off half the core potential from IG on one side while they deal with the other half. It's pretty crazy how it's almost like a choreographed dance for a lot of these fights for Vici, or whether it's just a circumstance that happens to fall out from the ridiculous fight. It's all going well for him. So just moving in and getting the Roche.
For me, I'm just like looking at the. I tend to always look as a support player. I always look at you match up the support heroes, and you're looking at the Silencer and the Tusk, and you're like, man, these guys are doing a lot. They're doing tons of damage in the fights. They're using their abilities properly. Like just. Maybe not dealing the most damage Tusk is, but Fenrir is doing his job with his globals. Then you look at the Bounty Hunter Rubik. What do they really commit in these? What do they really give you in these fights? It's like, okay, a lift and a... Oh.
Global, and it's all to get
global, but okay, they go for Paparazzi here.
For Paparazzi, too. He's out 53 seconds without a buyback. This is Tier 2 territory, possibly a threat into the high ground too from VGJ.
Yeah, their supports are just way stronger. Like a Bounty throws a Shuriken in a fight, there's a Fade Ball coming out. It's pretty hard for him to get like that great of steals. He ideally wants to get like Stampede or something along the lines like this, but it's way too difficult versus the side of Vici when they're all running at you, and when you're global, when you're silenced, you can't do anything.
Yep.
And now we have ROTK already finishing up the Aghanims on the Centaur, so a lot of the damage that IG.V was already lacking is now
even worse.
Gone.
It's like they were throwing pillows before, now they're going to be throwing air.
just now the feathers inside the pillow. Just individual feather throwing.
The Nerf bats that IG are swinging around, unfortunately, don't seem like they're going to be doing any damage anytime soon to VGJ. But maybe still looking to fight on the back of hopes that VGJ could overstep, maybe get a bit overzealous here. Maybe take too long to kind of close things out and reward time for IG to be able to scrap together some farm.
Yep, Vici still has to break high ground. They are at quite a massive lead at the moment, but still breaking high ground can be a bit difficult if IG.V plays it properly. And they're going for like that kind of oh, in July with a bit of a mistake there. I think he may have actually been able to get that crush on him there. But those kind of things do happen in Dota. It's okay, they do lose a tier 2 here now.
Not playing the full distance of the blink, whatever the case may be.
That's starting to get painful. They are going for like the Midas onto the Slaughter and stuff, so they are prepping to go for that late game. They do understand that the way that the game is supposed to work for them. FY with quick blink out.
Can't help poor Slaughter. You can feel the shudder in the arena when something like that happens. It's like, ooh.
You know,
so you want to go down?
We have heard it a couple times. I have talked to Jack a bit in July. He does get a little bit nervous. I think one of his nicknames kind of was like nervous boy or something along the lines like that.
Bro,
so
probably.
Yeah, nervous bro, something like that. Yeah.
They like to put bro at the back of everything. But yeah, you know, whatever it may be, the land jitters. You're here.
Just
you're
a little bit, yeah.
In front of the home crowd, going against ROTK is a legend.
the game.
That too. It could be the intimidation. A lot of things do you have to factor into these type of situations.
And well, VG, take a moment to kind of reset here. I don't doubt they're probably waiting things out for really claiming a next Roche or a new Aegis, but they know that they have this game pretty much in good grasp. I gotta say though, as I just ponder the net worth, it is surprising to still see Sakata ranked so high in the net worth. He's been pretty good about just still finding some farm, I guess. Yeah. Because I'm not seeing him really beat ass in fights. He's 5 and 5 rather, but he's still hanging in there as far as net worth.
Nature of the Shadow Fiend. They're prioritizing ganking the Juggernaut a lot in the times too, so that gives Sakata maybe a little bit of space to kind of just like farm around and do his thing.
Yeah. The problem is that Jug. When you look down, and the Jug is even a good chunk behind where even ROTK is for the other team, and you know, it does feel like it could be pretty heavy on the shoulders of the Yules of Shadow Fiend at that point.
I've really been liking just Vichi's vision game this game. It's been every single time they've had either like Ob's Sentry on high ground or Sentry place in lane. I mean, these two teams, they know each other. They've played each other a good amount of times. They know dogfights. This guy plays his Rickies. This guy plays his bounties. They understand how to play versus this type of hero. And they're executing it pretty damn well right now. It's all about just how are they going to be able to break this high ground with the Deso, with the Aegis versus IG.V's lineup.
Yeah, let's look at the high ground defense here for IG.V, and I gotta say, I'm not super impressed.
It's not the greatest, yeah. I mean, they
could do some work if you catch them on the hill in an awkward spot with a good crush.
They're just the tracks. That's the big thing, is they're going to always have vision of the high ground push. So just throw a couple tracks out, and then that's, you know, that's kind of an intimidating factor too. As VG, you're like, all right, 4 of us are tracked.
They see what we're doing. You overstep a bit away from your creeps. You get hit with an Omni inside the base of IG.
You can get bursted super heavily by the corrosive haze with Juggernaut, Omni slash with corrosive haze. I mean, that can still bring down almost any hero at any point of the game if you don't, if you aren't prepared for it.
Yeah, still lots of heavy physical burst flavors coming out from IG.
Lots of suffocation coming out from Vici that we do tend to see, that corralling into their base. They have the gem finished up on FY, just constantly looking around for wards. She's going to spot right here, cleans that one up.
Yeah, just building up the gains right now so that when they take a fight, it's almost assured that there's no chance that IG could have the firepower that Vici do bring.
Career? Ooh. Freeze was like, oh, almost. He almost got it. Sakata, though, finishing up that butterfly. Good power peak for him.
Will make life very difficult for Aggressive if he was trying to burst down Sakata on this one. But here comes VGJ after flirting around that mid lane quite a bit. Looks like they'd be taking their business all the way here to the top.
Aegis was reclaimed though, so they're doing this a little bit, I would say a little bit risky, but it does, I guess they want to just keep pressing their advantage. But IG.V is just chilling.
Yeah, the sieging is not the best. You can't really just throw a non-Aegis bear up into the high ground to hit the tower. And
he's just going to have to get a couple hits. Get a jump on Sakata though with the global coming out. Sakata, oh no, he doesn't get the BKB up. He doesn't have buyback.
Oh man, just with the overcommitment to the investment and unfortunately not keeping it tabs on his positioning, it's VGJ who spotted out the opportunity and fully capitalized on it. Counterplay though, decent crush. IG need a lot though to fend off VG so they can't follow through with this huge hit inside the base, but it looks like they are going to be able to get the takedown of a tier 3. Oh, IG, just, you can't cross the yellow line, all right? You're going to get punished for it, and they did. Now looking to go for a bit more. VGJ, maybe hoping for a full set of closure here. Popping the Shrines, Paparazzi in the mix with the full Blade Fury. Now pops the Manta, goes into Omni. Can they get the burst firepower? They will be able to take down FY. Still they'll need 30 seconds if they want more damage done, but it looks like it's not going to be enough
nice play by Freeze there. Dodges the crush and also cleans up Paparazzi.
Nice grab, and they'll get the Rubik takedown. A buyback's forced out, but it's the lone defender in Slardar. Vici double back, will get the finish on the Rex here, it looks like.
963 gold for In July, just cleaning up the Aggressive after his buyback. He only gets half, or like 60% because of the buyback, but they're bailing out. You know, Shadow Fiend's respawning, and July's trying to get him make another catch. ROTK does get grabbed up. They should be able to clean this one up nice and easy with the Shadow Fiend. He died and comes back, gets his souls from that kill. Gets 15 souls stacked up. Gem also recovered too. Nice little chunk of gold going for Sakata. Did lose a Rax, but
that helps.
That helps a little bit.
I mean, they got slashed in the arm. It was bleeding out profusely, and that helps get at least a little bit of a Band-Aid there. But you could see
gauze, you know.
Yeah, the gauze is on there, but you can still see the red seeping through right now. It's pretty bad. but you don't want to be in that kind of situation either where you're going to be giving IG some free money for them to kind of enhance their potential late game a bit further. Still feels very good for VG. Don't get me wrong here. But now it's like maybe more of a reason why we might need to make sure we get the Roche before we kind of make these pushes a bit or get a bit too excited.
Yeah, they got the racks. I mean, I think they're still pretty happy with. They're still super happy with this.
They got it because of Sakata's awkward positioning there. So in another situation, you know, who knows what things. But the game's not over yet.
Yeah.
We'll have to see IG now battle it back and maybe getting a boast of confidence here after the back end of those trades.
Still scary for Paparazzi though. It's a lot on Sakata and in July in these fights. They are pretty much everything for IG.V. Playing at almost what? I think it's about a 20 net worth deficit, I want to say, for IG.V right now versus VG. Just about something like that. So yeah, like 22,000 almost. So.
Does mean more money to take back the crazy rubber band factor, if you will, or track on top of it. But yeah, IG are still at quite the deficit here. And you could just see that if, unfortunately, they weren't with Sakata, they weren't able to kind of get that extra bit of damage. It does feel a little weak, but here VG kind of maintain the pressure across the lanes.
Cleaning up the shrines now with Ursa. ROTK is sitting near.
Not sure if there's maybe one other extra big ticket item for VG to try to make the closeout a bit easier. I'm seeing some nice big support items they're flexing. The Abyssal's probably coming soon. We just see there the Tusk.
Guarding Grief's Evasion, and he's got Talisman of Vision. He's level 20 on the Tusk too. I mean, that hero gets so much experience in team fights. He's the same level as his core Centaur.
He's got a pretty sweet late game to kind of fly into too.
Yeah.
You could even see those late game kicking shenanigans, but here VG kind of being scouted a bit from dogfights. Aggressive.
Oh my God.
Namesake as he goes in deep to go for Paparazzi. They commit in the global, but Sakata steps up to play, hits up the Requiem for the high ground, and VG have to step off a bit. They pop their pipe, they pop their greaves, and they pop the hell out of that bounty hunter. But now they go back in for more. FY leads it off with a leading in uppercut, but in July,
crush off the mark again. ROTK with 3-man stun.
3-man crush comes out from the king. And now with a flyout from IG's Omni Slash, they're not scratching at the surface of VG whatsoever. Paparazzi, a man on the run, but he's not going to be able to make it away. It's over. Oh man, ROTK. An emphatic statement to close out game number 1, and they take it 38-13.
Yeah, I would say a couple of misplays by IG.V in July, missing a good amount of his crushes, actually, I would say, when he picked up the Blink Dagger. He missed one in that team fight. He missed the one bottom. He missed 2, actually, in that fight. Then it was just a little bit hard for them, but VGJ definitely putting on the pressure, forcing those kind of mistakes when they're the ones on the aggression for the most part in the game. That's what tends to happen. The Rubric and the Bounty Hunter, I would say, underwhelming.
Yeah.
The duo in combination it's very difficult to play because you lack a lot of damage if you get pressured so hard in the laning phase. You're not able to become those like forces because those heroes really need items to do damage or really be able to do too much. Just unable to really get online. VG just the pressure.
It's hard to really say how things could have possibly panned out a bit differently if during that siege and in the top lane, if Sakata was in a slightly better position and they had that extra bit of damage to be able to maybe take a couple of kills, get some track money, and then suddenly make it an even playing field. But the pressure factor, maybe going against ROTK, the nerves, bro. It could be any of these things, and IG were not able to hold on.
ROTK with some, beautiful, like multiple, like 3-hero, 4-hero stuns, just leading the charge for VGJ.
Fantastic game. Let's go ahead and send things over to Paul and the panel to see their thoughts on it.
Thank you very much, Dakota. Yes, welcome back to the panel. Purge, PPD and Gods here to break it down. I'm not sure what we can break down from game 1, though. What did we learn?
Very crisp VGJ play, very effective roaming from FY's Tusk. He was much more effective than the Bounty Hunter, and then, as Cassius mentioned, RTK, hell of a performance, great initiations, and yeah.
Old China was too strong for new China.
I like that. Yeah, the old boys definitely rocked that game, didn't they?
They did. They did really, really well. I think like the biggest kind of difference for me was the FY versus Dogfights matchup, the Bounty Hunter versus Tusk. Tusk, I think, has an advantage in that matchup, but man, he was just outclassed this entire game. I felt like Bounty Hunter was, he was almost on VGJ's team, just giving him gold from time to time.
I actually made FY made Tusk look like a tier 1 roaming hero. It actually was so impactful. He was all over the place. He ganked mid, secured some kills a couple times. I mean, maybe some miscoordination here or there, but Tusk looked really good. And even like the bounty rune fight, Snowball looked impeccable for countering their lineup.
It was a lovely piece actually by FY, just following this fight. Actually, this fight was really good for them, and then they moved round to the Roche pit, and I think he trapped Super on the other side. I can't remember who he trapped there, but just lovely piece of like awareness in the middle of that fight.
You could tell the good Tusk players when they're using ice shards, like you use Fissure to actually like block off like the right areas perfectly. That's when you know.
Well, that's what he did before. You right on the Rush pit. He literally locked him in there with a horseshoe right on the edge of the thing, so he had nowhere to go.
It's pretty hard spell to place and land because of the angle. Like the shards just randomly like appear in weird places half the time. So
Tusk made Jug look so bad. Actually, in that last fight, just there, he snowballed to stop the rest of the spin damage, which meant that the Jug had to commit Omni Slash to finishing off the silencer support. Like just a terrible situation. And consistently just snowballing during the spin, that's blocking a couple hundred magic damage.
Tusk is really good against BKB, like immune or magic immune course. And, you know, Tusk is like Shadow Fiend, who naturally builds BKB, and then Juggernaut, who wants to spin. It just takes a lot of the tools that Shadow Fiend and Juggernaut have, and 4-position support has a huge impact against these heroes.
Yeah, in the early game, obviously, Peter, there was a few mistakes. Very sloppy play by IG Vitality at times, just getting called out, picked off one by one. You were still quite a believer, though, 15, 20 minutes in. You sort of felt like they still had an end game here. They could still get out of trouble, but they never did. Why?
Shadow Fiend kept up farm, but I mean, you see what happens here. They just jump on top of him. He doesn't get his heals off. He doesn't get his BKB off, and he just dies. And they don't really have any great heroes to peel, and that's part of the silencer kind of effect. Is that we're seeing a lot of silences this tournament, but teams are initiating and taking the initiative and going on a hero, and then they pop global silence, and none of their teammates can help them. And then all of a sudden they're fighting 5v4, or they're fighting 4v5, and the fights are just too hard. And especially when it's your #1 net worth, who's kind of like your only hope in fights. He's dying, and you can't help him, and after that, you really just don't have a chance.
I felt like Sakata was the only one holding their team together, really. Like, even Super on their Rubik had disappointing early game performance, was dying a bunch of times. Dogfights did almost nothing. It felt like he was the only one holding them in the game in the mid lane, getting a couple solo kills and at least trading 1-for-1.
It's tough. I mean, the Bounty Hunter had such a low impact on the game. He really didn't provide anything to any of these ganks that would have allowed his teammates to potentially, pair up with their 4 position and do something. We see FY is making plays everywhere, but Aggressive is able to make a lot of the aggressive plays and go for ganks because Tusk is a factor. When Bounty Hunter doesn't have an impact on the game, a lot of these ganks that you would need your traditional 4 position to help you with just aren't existing.
When you watch that, do you feel it's more Bounty as a hero or the way he just played it?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Bounty Hunter is pretty underwhelming if you're trying to rely on him to set up ganks, but I think he's more of like a vision hero who places deep wards and can help you maybe like dodge team fights, and the track is nice for moving.
What about the lane pressure? Like, that's where he was so good originally. To go to a lane and just hit somebody like 5 times while invis. Like, I feel like we don't see that anymore. Is it just like sentry wards? Is it teams are just ready for it?
I think the shrines are a big deal. Being able to take all that Bounty Hunter harass and then just have the mid hero walk to the shrine and come back with full HP and mana, I think that's a huge deal.
He's also had nerfs. Like, the invis costs like a lot more mana now. The hero runs into mana problems very quickly.
The Janata slows like 17% or something terrible.
Also on the mid lane, like Shadow Fiend didn't need help, so Juggernaut or Bounty Hunter didn't really have a great spot to do a lot of things. He was trying to make plays in the off lane, and there wasn't like a lot of great opportunities for them to do that. And I don't think Slardar is a great offlaner. I feel like he is a position 4 hero almost exclusively and should be played as such.
MVP for the game? Want to pick one out, Peter?
I liked FY. The casters were mentioning ROTK. I think he played exceptional as well.
Freeze, I think, had some iffy laning stage, but played really well in those late game team fights. But FY, from the beginning to the end, set the tempo.
This is old FY. He's back.
Yeah.
Does he ever really go anywhere, Peter? He doesn't feel like he ever had.
Did he?
I don't think he was terrible
him. He disappeared for a year and a half.
He was on the tier 2 teams for
he wasn't even at tournaments.
But he doesn't seem to have bad games, though. Doesn't matter where he plays or who he plays for. I mean, he's had some outstanding games, and that's great. I love seeing it back as well. But
he definitely fell off for a little bit. He was like one of those Chinese
You guys
figureheads.
are just so mean.
No, seriously. He's one of those Chinese figureheads with a bunch of unknown players for a bit there. Didn't work out so well. Now he's on the power squad again, and he's doing great.
I think he disappeared in the context that everyone expected so much from him. He was like, I mean, China called him Prince FY because he was like the next big hope after like burning, like was the emperor, you know. And he was looked at as this superstar 4-position player, like the best in his role, at least in China.
He was also captaining VG Gaming for a long time.
He did it all. He was looked at like this young superstar prodigy, and then he, I mean, went to lower
VG
teams.
Gaming was winning international tournaments. They were winning everything in China, and there was like a year and a half when he was on VG, you know, when they were playing with Black and Ice Ice Ice, and
they did with different rosters too. Like
exactly.
they shuffled around a bit.
They
he
were
was still
continually
dominant.
just dominant, and then he kind of disappeared for a while. So it's really nice to see him back and having some success.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great lineup. We'll see how they get on in game 2, of course, which is just around the corner. Before we get there, we'll take a couple of social media questions. You guys have been posting all of your questions in the Reddit thread. Please do add some more if you want to, and thank you very much for those of you that have contributed so far. At PBD, what is your favourite ever game you have played with EG? That must be a tough question.
I'm excited to hear the answer.
It's tough. There's a lot of really fun ones. I think at our very first tournament, we played an online cup. I think it was like ESP something.
You're talking when you guys were like
yeah,
Sad
we
Boys?
were still
and
Sad
everything?
Boys.
Okay.
It was our very first tournament. We played against Empire, and I had watched like every single Empire replay there ever was, and I noticed that every time they played against a jungler, they would all like smoke into the enemy jungle and ward everything. So we picked a jungler, and we also picked like Furion and some other heroes, and we went level 1 Roshan. And that was like the old Roche pit. So we picked the jungler, and we knew they would all send all their heroes to our jungle and ward our jungle. And while they were doing that, we just did Roshan at level 1, and it was on a European server online, and we won the game because of that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those
So
are the best
all
wins.
of the games that you've ever played with EG, all these incredible grand finals, TI, the
it's
game
really
against
hard to-
home last year, all these games, and then you picked that one of all games.
It was a really fun game. It's really hard to pick out games, honestly.
Who's your favorite team to beat?
Favorite team to beat? Well, I would say last DAC beating Team Secret.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. There was so much like drama there and everything, and it just made the win mean that much more. When we won that series 2-0, we were so ecstatic. Like we felt like we'd won the tournament already.
Right.
And we still had the grand finals to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Very good question. We like that one a lot. Let's take one more before we head back to the draft for game number 2. What is the best level 25 talent right now? Kevin.
There's a lot of really good talents.
An even harder question.
That one's really difficult. It's like,
I don't know how like 230
out of all
talents.
230 talents.
Yeah. I know it's not triple arrows for Mirana. I know that much.
It's probably not. I don't know. Are there any that really change the hero?
420 GPM.
Which one has like a 45-second reduction on respawn?
I don't know if I'd say those are that OP at 25.
Okay.
They can be, but I'm thinking like
Some like the cooldown ones,
700
you know?
HP or like
when you get like
both the
10-second
pucks are
cooldown,
good.
like mana voids, like those kind of things are kind
yeah,
of
those
cool.
can be good.
The old Ember Spirit level 25 was really good.
His is still pretty good now. It's like 2 more Searing Chains.
Before it was like permanent Searing Chains.
But like Searing Chains goes from like 300 damage now to 500 on like a 6-second cooldown with Octarine. It's pretty good. That's 5 seconds of root. That's super disgusting.
There's probably
right
some
now.
really good ones on like shitty heroes that we just don't
Yeah,
think
you're
about.
like, oh, I totally forgot that exists. Or like Aphotic Shield going
Yeah,
from
that's
200
pretty
to
good.
500 is incredible. Or like Illuminate going, there's a lot of things that are situationally good that it's hard to like pluck it out of the hero and say like, yes, this is the best talent, because usually it's balancing the hero. It's a hard question. I have to do research.
Speaking in absolutes is always difficult. Saying something is the best. That's like, who's the best Dota player?
Yeah.
Pretty hard to say.
Yeah. Well, today it could be.
PBD,
You could probably give an
obviously.
answer today, and then it would be different tomorrow.
That's
Wouldn't
true.
it?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Player-wise, anyway. I don't know. Talent-wise depends on the patch.
Yeah.
Depends on which hero's doing well, I guess, at the same time. We are ready for our second draft, and game 2 will be underway. VGJ, of course, if you're just joining us, winning the first game in this particular matchup, and very convincingly, Kevin. So what did Vitality do here? It's back to the drawing board for them in a little bit, isn't it?
I felt like they were a bit on the defensive from the opening silencer pick. I felt like that really set the tempo for the match. They had to pick all these heroes that they kind of felt would work around it, but never really did. And a lot of times when I see Jug lineups, they look so good on paper, but they always just seem inadequate when it comes to the game. When they all just have picked these like safe, stun heroes, I need some OP stuff to mix in that lineup to really make it sparkle, I guess.
Jug lineups seem kind of like straightforward. So like on paper they look kind of good, which is like part of the reason why I think I sided with them.
Right.
But then like the game is so complex now, it just doesn't really work that way.